Hey guys, this is Marcus from New York Maztech 315, and today we are going to take the bottles and cans 3 build to a whole new level. So those of you who have been watching the videos that are turning into a series, it feels, this was going into a Christmas gift for somebody. I was donating a PC, and so this I picked up in Binghamton, New York. It had no side panel. It had 8 gigs of RAM, a 1 terabyte hard drive. It had this Dell OEM with a i7 second gen processor and a non-name brand power supply, really. And to be honest with you, I mean, before I put that bad side plexiglass on it, I think the front's busted. I had the zip tie, the HDMI in the front that you can see is moving. I did add a purple fan in it and a blue one to try and give it some more aesthetic features, but it just isn't working out. F1 is annoying, and the back I/O doesn't work. If you plug in a USB, it freezes up Windows. Can't use the P2 ports at all. And it also came with a RX 550. But what we did was, when I built the other PC and I had this stuff left, I decided just to make a PC that I would know how to use or troubleshoot if I had to, but just another PC to have around. But unfortunately, with the I/O not working and the zip tie in the front, which it does work, it's too much for me. But I headed out to Buffalo, and I was doing some used parts deals as we were heading to an aquarium, and I was able to pick up a GTX 960, and an RX 560 4 gigabyte. This is 2 gigabyte, and 16 gigs of Corsair RAM. It was $40 for the RAM. I believe one of the GPUs was 60, one was 55, so really good deals on all of them. But the Corsair RAM, he didn't know if it worked. I put it in, it works. Everything else works. We picked up a Xeon 1230 to add. It's a 4-core, 8-thread server CPU, but it'll still work for what we needed to do. I did go ahead and get an aftermarket Hyper 212 Evo, not for overclocking purposes, more because the old stock cooler, just forget about it. And we did go ahead and on eBay we purchased a new motherboard. Hopefully the I/O works. It's a Gigabyte GA-H67MD2. And that can carry up to 32 gigs of DDR3 RAM. It's an LGA 1155 socket. And we're going to go ahead and remove the RX 560 because the 960 wouldn't fit in this case. And we're going to add all those parts into this DIY PC JAX 11 white case with a side panel. Unfortunately, because this didn't have a side panel, I attempted cutting a piece of plexiglass or breaking it and drilling holes, and came out okay, but the paint job's really bad, and if you were here in person, if you can't see it, the cut was really bad. So basically we're going to throw everything away and keep the processor. I'll keep the power supply for myself for another build. We'll keep the RAM. We'll keep the graphics card for something else. And we did add a solid state drive of 120 gigs in this. Yes, that's not a lot, but it was just something to kind of, like I said, this wasn't going to be anything special. It just needed Windows for maybe diagnostic purposes, or just to fiddle around or have another PC if I have LAN parties, because like I said, it does work. It works great with games. I played Roblox with my daughter, but I was also able to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Fortnite, Apex, couple other games, Resident Evil, things like that, and it did run. I mean, it ran at medium-low settings, over 60 frames a second, but it's just not going to cut it. So we're going to go ahead, throw all the parts in here, stay tuned for that, and then we will benchmark with the 960 and see what kind of gameplay we can get out of it as well. Stay tuned. Alright, so I wanted to give you a little bit of a glimpse of what it looked like. bottles and cans rebuild here that I spent so much time on trying to get it to work. So it does work, like I said. As you can see, I've got the new setup here, a bunch of stuff going on. So got the test bench set up. If you haven't seen that video, take a look at it. Got the dual monitor set up again because I'm always giving away my monitors or selling them with PC setup. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off. This was the makeshift side panel. Give you a full glimpse of So if you ever decide to make a side panel out of plexiglass, watch the videos that are better than other ones, but make sure you take your time, and when you do the paint, take your time with that. Lesson learned, but it did the job. So here we go. I added a 120 millimeter RGB fan in the front for intake. And I added a 90 millimeter, no, it is an 80 millimeter fan, 80 millimeter RGB fan in the back, which I could have probably added to that cooler, which is okay, but not the best. There's the 16 gigs of Corsair RAM, and there is the RX 550. We also have the 120 gig solid state drive in there. And I already have Roblox on here, but I think I tested it to ensure. I ran IDA 64 to make sure it was stable, which it was. So it's not that all the features of the motherboard are shot, just the I/O that I can see, and the fact that it's an OEM. So really, and the person I got it from kind of did some splicing and some different wire work, and I just don't trust any modded stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, we're going to remove all the parts and add it to the new build, so check it out.
down, we're gonna freak you down, your hands on me. You freaky people! I'm gonna freak you down, over the night. I'm gonna freak you down, over the night. Freak off!
Alright guys, so we're going to try something different in this video. We're going to go ahead and commentate on the games as we're going through them. I try to get the games fast paced as far as the speed of the footage, but I feel maybe it's going too fast, so I'm tweaking that. And also trying some other things like this. So we're going ahead, we're going to let Epic and Fortnite set up the best settings for the GPU. So that way it's not jaggy. It is a solid state drive in there, so it should be quick loads as we're going in. Testing all these games at 1080p. So that way, even though it's a budget build, and when I mean budget, I mean like low budget build, like very low budget, it's still playing at 1080p. As you can see, it is over 60 FPS, and I cannot figure out how to close my build menu. So I apologize for having that up. Alright, we're heading into Apex now, which is a little bit more demanding of a game, I feel, than Fortnite. I could be wrong about this. In the past it was. Fortnite Season 2 may have a lot of upgrades as far as graphics and what it demands, but Apex is definitely the next level up in the past that I've used to check out gameplay with graphics cards when I'm putting a low budget PC together, or any PC for that matter, with a graphics card. So we're going in, not too bad, 70 to 80 FPS. So it's the GTX 960 2GB GDDR5. As you can see, the gameplay is not jaggy, it's not lagging, and I am recording the games as I'm measuring them, and this time I'm using fraps because some of the games are very finicky when it comes to using the MSI afterburner, using the Riva tuner measuring tool for FPS and monitoring. So for this game I'm using fraps. It all depends on what you're looking to measure. If you're just looking to get a range of what your frames per second are with your components, this fraps will do it. It's free. MSI Afterburner is free as well. That allows you to overclock your graphics card if you have a NVIDIA graphics card. Well, any graphics card really. NVIDIA or AMD or some kind of knockoff, I guess. Alright, now we're getting into Ring of Elysium. This game is not a bad game to play. It's another multiplayer game, PvP. This one's definitely going to run low at as far as graphics wise, because this, I wanted to try and keep it above 60 if possible. Menu's looking at about 15 to 25 FPS, which is not a good sign, but then again, menus lie sometimes as far as FPS goes compared to gameplay. We will see if that is true today. So we're definitely hitting over 60. I seen it dipped into the 50s there. Hit 80, 90. So as you can see, for the most part it does try and keep it above 60, but if not, it does dip into the mid 50s. Still not bad for a 2 gigabyte GTX 960. Which really isn't even the issue. The issue is the bottleneck of the CPU. If you look, it's 100%. This is definitely a bottleneck. GPU's handling its own. So it would pay to upgrade if this was a game you were going to get into heavy, or really any other game. But to start out, I mean, the components only cost me maybe a couple $100, give or take. And I'm up and running. This is strictly for somebody who's looking to get into PC gaming, may have somebody that knows a little bit of knowledge or is willing to learn. YouTube's a great resource to figure out how to install all your parts. You basically just put in the parts you're looking to install, and 9 times out of 10 you're going to find a video. Definitely a lot of influencers out there, YouTubers, Linus Tech Tips, Christopher Yee. There's a ton of them out there that you can watch, and they all kind of collaborate. Tech Yes City, there's a ton of them. So definitely check out YouTube, or just read or scroll the internet, read the instructions. Well, if they're used parts, you may not get instructions actually, so don't quote me on that one if you're buying used parts. There's always a risk. How long the part was used, how old it is, what kind of condition it's in. But I have been buying from a lot of resources for a couple years now and have never really had an issue with anything as far as a dead part, or not to say it wouldn't happen, but I've been pretty lucky thus far. So this clip's going to be a little long, only because I never really played this game, but I do know a lot of people play, and it's a pretty good game. Normally I'm not gaming too much, and if I am, it's either GTA 5 or Assassin's Creed or some other game I'm trying to finish up that I started and never finished. But in this game, I wanted to keep recording it because I did really well in it, and I'm not patting myself on the back, but I'm definitely saying for novice, and I use that word loosely, I did pretty well in this round. So you be the judge. You go ahead and comment below and let me know what you think. In this game it did stutter a lot, but it wasn't stuttering in the gameplay. There must have been a recording issue or a codecs issue where it didn't convert over, and I didn't re-record it, so I do apologize for the jagginess or the lag. But it definitely played smooth when I was playing it. The other 2 games ran smooth. Kill 3, not bad. I could overclock the 960 and get a little bit more out of it. I don't know how much more, but I would definitely take this PC for a couple $100, I guess. would be worth it with the keyboard, mouse, and a monitor. If a monitor was able to be thrown in, it might not be a 1080p monitor, but you never know. But at the very least, definitely keyboard, mouse, tower. For $200, that's not bad. That's half of what you would pay for. It was right around what you would pay for a gaming system, a console, but used. Actually, probably less, and you'd get just the same performance, maybe a little less, but I doubt it, as a Xbox One or PlayStation 3. The only difference, I guess, with the console and a PC is you could upgrade the graphics card and definitely be up to a PS4 or an Xbox One X. As far as graphics wise goes, you have the 16 gigs of RAM, but you definitely might want to look into getting a better processor. Maybe the i7 2600 or Xeon with better probably clock speed, and if you could get a better processor performance wise altogether, an i7 may be a little better of a would be a better CPU to go with as far as an 1155 LGA socket. So in the trees we definitely get around 70 FPS. And as you can see on the screen, you can see it's not really blocky. You can still see the individual grains of grass and the leaves, the detail in the leaves. It's not RTX, but then again, you don't have an RTX card we're running right now. I wasn't sure what was going on. I didn't realize I was in the fire ring burning, I assume. A lot of these games seem to kind of be the same concept of gathering ammo, things like that. Last person standing with a ring that closes. So, but this was a pretty decent game. Ring of Elysium, I can't complain. Different aspect compared to maybe Apex and Fortnite, PUBG. I think we're in the safe area now. Crawling through the wheatgrass like a ninja. That's it, little buddy. Yeah, you can see at a lot of points where his arms aren't even moving, but his arms are moving. This might be an issue that you'd want to look into. You might want to use a capture card. Remember, this is solely on this one PC. So we're trying to record trying to monitor and play the game. Alright, kill number 4. At this point, I think I'm shooting ahead for the helicopter. Yep. Down to 8 people. And the fire again, because I just don't know when to quit. Alright, we see the helicopter. 6 people left. Or 5 and me. 5, 4, okay, definitely a hot spot. Oh, nice. Kill number 5, there we go. A little quick wing jump. Glider jump. And I did not think I was going to make this helicopter ride. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, hit that like button. If you disliked it, hit the dislike. Go ahead and subscribe for more videos. And let me know what you think in the comments below.